And I think you're saying that if you were to have to cast a ballot today, if you thought it would be more hurtful to the constituents than beneficial, then you would cast your ballot to not have that mosque built in that location. And I'm not sure, I think I'm getting the right read on Jane and Abe, but I'm not sure I understand exactly how you would cast your ballot.
I would say, and I think that when I drew the point on emotion and compassion, I was talking more about the moral framework as opposed to the legal framework. And I think that the issue before us now, as someone actually pointed out to me, is for this not to go ahead constitutes an extremely problematic precedent. I mean, it's a deep, deep loss for democracy, for a reasonable and sane interpretation of the Constitution. My point is rather that for any institution to make a decision that would weigh so heavily on the minds of people, locally, regionally, nationally, requires a very deep and searching process of whether or not that's the best decision to make. And I think that it requires also thinking through how people perceive you before you do that. That said, I wouldn't say that you shouldn't build it for the reason that, I mean, there's that constitutional issue that's at work. And I think more deeply than that, it's not my community, so it's not really my business. It's legal, they have the right to do it. They can do it. I'm not going to ever say, you don't have the right to do this. Someone wants to build, I don't know, anything, a gurdwara or anything, that's their right. As long as they fulfill the basic requirements, they can go ahead and do it. I'm trying to draw attention to the fact that in the larger conversations, we don't really have empathy for the other, and we don't really consider the feelings of the other, and we don't attempt to understand why people can't have dialogue, because we often miss the sort of mental obstacles in people's minds to sitting down and talking to each other. We don't always understand why it is that some Americans will see all Muslims as suspects, and we don't always understand why it is that some Muslims say things that some Americans find problematic. And in order to get beyond that, you really have to be able to understand where the other person is coming from, what hurts them, what affects them, what motivates them, and then to move with that. So I don't know if that point makes sense. I think I'm sort of looking in the sort of post-Part 51 environment, like what do we learn from this? How do we move forward? Right. Going back to Jackie's comment, actually, and kind of moving from there. So I don't know if that gets to it.
Thank you. Are there other questions?
Is there a question over here?
Oh.
Over here?
I was not hearing anything.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Abir Alan. Excuse my English first, I don't speak good English. Anyway, I have 4 kids. I've been living in America for about 19 years, and I want the best for them. Okay, like everybody else here. Okay, I believe all of us, we all live in one ship, and any hole have in that ship, we all gonna drown. That's what I believe. And I want to know one thing: why, like, for all my respect for the Jewish and Christian, when they want to build a synagogue or church, no one can ask them any question. Why always for a mosque, just mosque, to pray there, to know about about culture for the kids, to educate them our language, everything. We do a lot of things in the mosque. We're not gonna do like for terrorist organization like. They ask the first thing for Imam Raouf, what do you have to do with Hamas if they are terrorists or not? What does that question have anything to do with the mosque? That's my question. I want to know, thank you.
I think it's a very good question, but unfortunately, if you look at our history in this country, there have been times when people who tried to build a synagogue were prevented, even by law, from doing so. There certainly were terrible incidents in the 1800s of violence against Catholics and Catholic churches. In my family home in Philadelphia, there were churches that were burned down because of that anti-Catholic violence. So this has happened in our past. We're very grateful, I'm very grateful, that it isn't happening to my people now. But it's the reason I feel strongly that as a Jew, I should stand up for that kind of religious freedom for everyone.
But I just want to say, but I think it's important to point out that no one is burning down mosques here, right? I mean, it's the comparison. I don't know. It's not doesn't fit to me. I mean, so, you know, true. We shouldn't overblow the terrorist threat. That's fine. But we also shouldn't make too much. We shouldn't turn vocal objection to less than a handful of mosques into a period of institutionalized abuse of a particular group. I don't think it doesn't resonate in that way with other parts of our history. To me, it doesn't.
Thank you.